Let's get it cracking for the Benjamins and Jacksons, fam.
And after, but yeah. So, do you know what? Yeah. So I'm finding like a new way of introducing people. So we don't want to do the whole like generic thing of like,
what you do,
who are you, what you do, and whatever.
Yeah.
So the way we do it now is, what is the one thing that people should know about you?
Yeah.
So when you meet people, what do you feel like is the one thing that everyone should know about you?
I think one thing that people should know about me when they meet me is definitely like my energy, and I feel alive, fam. You know, alive to the world, alive to the world's experiences, but also alive to people's stories.
I love
speaking to people and finding out what their stories are, and then asking them questions about their stories, finding out more about them. And that's like all good energy, good positive vibes. Because people love it when you take interest in them. You know, and that's that energy that I bring. Then it's not just about finding out what then people like, what their story is. It's then doing stuff that they like, you know, experiences that they want to do and enjoy together as a collective.
Do you know what? That's why I appreciate you a lot, you know, because I've definitely seen that in you. I've seen you like, because obviously I spend a lot of time around you, so I see you connect with people, and like you just have a good energy. And do you know what else as well? Like I feel like energy is so important, and it's not something we discuss a lot in general terms, but it's something that people can feel. It's like when someone walks in, and especially like energy from people that you care about. So you know, like sometimes you might be around someone, and it's like you can still have a good relationship with that person, but the energy is like it's just bad, it's just messing up the vibe. And
whenever you get good energy from someone, right, you always want to reciprocate it back. You want to give it back just as you received it. You know, and that's a vibe, fam. That's a vibe.
You know what? I fuck with that, man. I fuck with that highly, man. So like, see so far in your life, like what would you say are your like top learnings or like takeaways in your lifetime so far? Because obviously they always change, and like 5 years later is going to be something else. But like currently, like what would you say are your top 3 learnings and the most important things that you've learned?
That's a powerful question. And the first one is resilience. Resilience in the sense that life is going to be difficult. It will never be straightforward. You know, sometimes you can maybe compare your life to someone else, and it seems that someone had it easy and their life was like linear. They went from one stage to the next stage to the next stage, and they achieved things and they accomplished things. But what people don't ever realize is that everyone has their struggles, right? It's that theory of like the iceberg, where all you see is the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg seems tiny, right? But then underneath the surface of that iceberg is more ice. It's much bigger, and that then is like what that person may have maybe gone through to achieve what they achieved. So that's resilience, the first thing. And the second thing is be open-minded. You know, I'm open-minded. I want to experience new things, try new things, and maybe that comes from a place where growing up, I never had any of those experiences. And I now realize that the world is so much bigger than the postcode I grew up in. So I'm like, man, if the world is that big, I'm trying to see where I'm going.
And they say that the world is small, but actually I think it's huge. Like there's so much that we don't know, but there's so many people that's out there that we haven't met.
Facts. But we make it small as a result of going out there and experiencing it.
So the fact that the world is small, that's more about the perspective rather than what the world actually is. Like when people go, the world is small, it's just actually, that's a perspective. It's not a fact. Like the world is actually huge.
I got a question. You know how they say, life is long, and then they say, no, name something that's longer. You can apply that to the world. The world is small, but name somewhere you've been that's bigger. Where have you been that's bigger than Earth?
Ooh,
that's a mad question.
Yo, listen.
First 2 minutes.
That's a mad observation still.
Yeah, that's lit. So what would you say the third thing is then?
For me, the third thing is your core people. You know, the people you keep around you, your friends. And you've heard this quote before, right? You are the average of the 5 people that you spend your time with. And to me, that's very important who you keep around you, because 1, it depends on that energy that they bring. 2, it's what are they doing to enrich and improve your life? And 3, what are you learning from them? Do you know, right? Facts. And then 4, what are you actually doing to enrich and improve their lives as well? Again, going back to reciprocating good energy. To me, I'm like, I'm very mindful of the people I keep around me, and I only keep lit people around me. So if you're around me,
come on,
you're lit and 30, you get me? Come on now.
And do you know what? That was a long reach. Do you know what? Just going back on the people you keep around. So I had this thought, and it's quite. I think it's quite deep. And I was thinking, what does having 5 people that influence us mean? And I was thinking it's about consumption. So I know it sounds a bit weird. It's like, so as human beings, I believe that we produce content.
Yeah.
So, you know, whether it's through conversation or action or we always produce content. Like us having this conversation, this is content.
Yeah.
Even when we interact off camera, we're producing content for each other. But that's the content that we get to consume. Whether subconsciously or consciously, we get to consume it. And that's what I realized. That's why it's important to kind of like to limit who we spend the time around and be more conscious of who we spend because they're going to produce content that we're going to be consuming.
Facts, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was thinking, and I think that's really important.
Yeah. And that content is not just, for example, media content or social content.
But it
could be content in terms of the things they say, the things that they do, and how it affects you from a mental perspective. You know, how does it actually make you feel? You know, and that's true, bro. That content can mean so many things, and we have to unpack it.
Nah, for real. And I think that's the other thing is there's a sense of awareness that comes with it. So I think people that are aware and they understand. So like this year, I'm starting to get to the point now where like I want to be less available to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that though?
I want to be like not to kind of put my value up, but I want to be I want to be more exclusive. So I want to be less available just because I feel like sometimes I have some of those like interactions which are like a little bit meaningless or like I feel like I'm wasting my time. So like I want to cut that because I'm getting to the point where like, you know what, I have a limited amount of experience I'm going to have on this earth. So why not shape it in a way where I can have the best experience?
So you're telling me that we can apply economic principles of supply and demand towards social interactions, i.e. if I'm less around people, they'll probably think, man, I haven't seen my guy in a minute, you know? I actually miss him.
Not necessarily. So I don't think
in that sense.
So this is where I would debate that quantity is not an issue here.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not a thing of like quality over quantity. So I think because you can have quantity of quality anyways. Yeah. So I think that you can have a lot of interactions with your friend, but as long as it's got quality there and it's still meaningful, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I think, and it's not about like intentionally not seeing someone. So they go, you know what? It's that what's that scarcity mindset?
Scarcity,
yeah. So it's not necessarily about that. It's just as long as another person understands your value, it doesn't matter if it's frequent or not.
Facts.
Because it's about understanding your value.
And if someone understanding, they'll take you for granted.
Exactly.
I see where you're going. Yeah, that's dope.
Exactly.
Dope.
Do you know what I was gonna go back to? I was gonna go back to resilience. Yeah. Like you told me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Like. Was it through, like, let's say, like, was it through boxing that you kind of built that, or was it like a thing you just built, like, as in life, or was it more of? Because for me, the reason I'm asking this question, because for me, I feel like it was through boxing and martial arts that built that discipline and resilience.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I've learned that concept and I applied it to my life.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked it.
Like for me, it goes a step before boxing, because I think that when people go through traumatic events, right? Those traumatic events will break you. And they always do, right? Like they break you in a way where you feel defeated. You may even reach or hit rock bottom, right? But when those experiences that you've gone through break you, right? You're then faced with this moment of realization where you're like, raw, right? I've got all these pieces of me, of myself, like on the floor that are like broken, right? And then you start going through this phase of recreating yourself and putting those pieces back together.
Yeah.
Right? So then when I started recreating myself, having gone through traumatic events, I was like, okay, what kind of person do I want to make myself now? Right? And then I was like, okay, I like boxing. I want to start boxing. So I added boxing to that. So then as a result of then doing boxing, I learned like the discipline, the dedication, the hard work, but also like the brotherhood, the sisterhood of people in that gym just trying to better themselves, right? That all that came together, then that started to then feed into other areas of my life as well, right? And that was like, despite being separate from that process of recreation, it then added to that process of recreation where maybe it can be difficult to even distinguish like what came first. Was it the chicken? Was it the egg? Was it the recreation as well of being broken? Or was it the boxing and learning things from boxing and then applying them to other areas of my life?
That's I think that's really interesting. Yeah, it's like the whole like chicken or the egg thing, because like I feel like sometimes like I don't know if people ever ask you like how did you get somewhere else? Like sometimes I don't know, like I don't genuinely know, like I just got there, you know what I'm trying to say? Just like I just had certain maybe I picked up certain things subconsciously. It wasn't like I'm going to make a conscious decision to become this person. It's a journey as well. It takes a little bit of time.
No, it's true.
But you know what? Do you know what I like about what you said about kind of like breaking ourselves down in pieces and then putting it together? It's like, to me, what it sounded like there's limitless possibilities to become who you want to be. It's like, but not necessarily what our past is or what experiences where, like those things are just something that happened to us. They're not us. It happened to us or it happened for us. You know, some people would say that.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not really that deep. And I feel like people, I would describe as rebirth. I think sometimes some people need to like be reborn again because they're living in these like mental prisons of creating a certain lifestyle and where they're at, and it's just like it's not really working for them, and they keep doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Doing the same actions, repeating the same, and that's what we define as madness, right? Doing the same actions, expecting the same results, but the results that you're expecting aren't the results that you want, but the results that you're actually getting are the results that are like detrimental, not even effective or useful to you, right? So that it's mad. It's all mad.
Yeah.
It's all mad.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I have a question.
After you finish eating, yeah?
One second. I'll be with you. Give me a second.
Man said I had a question, but like,
Reminds me of my dad, man. My dad used to do this thing here where I'll try to ask him a question here, and he's eating, and I'm waiting for him to finish eating, so I'm waiting. And he finishes eating, he takes another bite.
That's because he was still thinking, bro.
Alright, my question, yeah. You know how you said, people like, Einstein, I think he said as well, like doing the same thing again and again, expecting different results is the definition of insanity. But as humans, as developing humans, and as having developing brains, is it impossible to do the same thing again and again and again?
I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it is highly possible. Not impossible, highly possible. And the reason being is that as human beings, right, we are conditioned, or we prefer routine. Right? We prefer stability, and doing the same things over and over and again is stability, is certainty, right?
That's like a primitive thing.
It's like a primitive thing, right? The moment something changes, like, oh, wow, we're now under unfamiliar territory. We then have to like relearn, readjust again, and that's a painful process that we don't necessarily want to do. Why? Because a big part of it is we just to an extent we're actually kind of lazy, bro. Do you know what I mean, right?
I mean, 100%.
He says that all the time. That's his thing.
Facts.
But one time, the point I was trying to lead to was, if I do 10 push-ups today, you don't see no difference. If I do 10 push-ups tomorrow, you see no difference. If I did 10 push-ups every single day for 5 years, you will see a fucking difference. But it's me doing the same thing over and over again, right? So how can that define insanity?
So this is the interesting thing. So I think that doing the same thing over and over again is a perspective.
Is a perspective.
Personally, you know, when people say that, I hate that thing so much. It's like when I ask people like, you know, how's it going? They go like, same shit, different day. So I kind of respond in a funny way. I go like, new shit, same day. Yeah, like I just
switch it up.
But the point is, the point I'm trying to make with this is like, the reason it pisses me off is because it's a perspective thing. Because I can do 10 push-ups every single day. But I can do it in a different point where like I'm doing something different. But I'm still doing the same 10 push-ups. It's just my perspective's different on it. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe I'm doing it faster, maybe I'm doing it slower. It's like this. I think there's a level of creativity. And the other thing I was going to talk to you about as well, because I know you love arts. You were saying this to me before, and actually I've seen you go to a lot of like art galleries and
galleries, bro.
I can see, and even like even in Shoreditch, there's like a lot of like street art, which is incredible. So the other thing I want to touch on is imagination and creativity. And like, what's like, so when it comes to art for you, like, what is it that draws you to art in particular? What is it that you appreciate about it?
So what I appreciate about art is the freedom it gives you, right? And especially from an artist's perspective, is they're free from their confines, they're free from whatever social circumstances that they may have come from, and being able to create gives them such ultimate power to then express themselves and bring these ideas into their head, that are in their head, into the real world. And that's a powerful thing, because then it's crazy, right? How like imagination can then lead to invention, So for example, someone thinks of like a crazy idea in their head. They then bring that idea out into the world, maybe like as an artistic concept. And then someone is like, oh shit, that's dope. And then they make that into like an engineering thing where it becomes like a new type of like
everything
bridge.
around us is part
everything around us, right? And then that bridge then changes how all other bridges are made and their practical use in the world. And, and I feel like art is a big driver of human invention and ingenuity as well as progress.
Do you think art has reached its peak? Do you think it's at a? Do you know what I'm thinking about? Yeah. This I was gonna say it's gonna sound mad, but it's not gonna sound mad. Yeah. I feel like art currently, or just creativity in general, is on a compound effect. And what I mean, so like my belief is that people can only create or imagine things that they have experienced or seen already. Yeah. And the more that happens, and it's like it's compounding because like the creativity is getting bigger and bigger. So because some people go like we're the top. I don't think we are. I think technology is creativity. Yeah. You know, technology can be considered as art. Yeah. You know, like that's art. Like if you think about it, the designs of certain things and what goes in there, it's incredible. Yeah. But
that's facts. That's facts. Now I totally agree with what you said on like you're actually limited in terms of your experience with the kind of art you can produce. Yeah. Right? But I don't think art has reached its peak. Yes, it's maybe we're struggling to see new ideas and people just recreating old ideas because they're drawing inspiration from those ideas. So there's not that much originality. But I think where we can see originality is maybe looking at spaces and places that have historically been excluded from what we call mainstream art. Do you get what I mean? Like subcultures. Right? So if you look at even like the rise of grime, look at the rise of drill, right? That was underground. Only a few type of people create that music and enjoy that music. But now it's now becoming mainstream where people in the world are making their own form of drill music, grime music.
Do you not think that for some reason, like I have this feeling of like, I feel like sometimes things that are not mainstream, I think those things are super beautiful. And I feel like sometimes when you go mainstream, it loses like the essence just disappears and it gets watered down and that's happened with a lot of stuff, innit?
Facts. Because once something becomes mainstream, right? It has to be put in a type of like blueprint or like standard that would allow like whoever to like monetize it and make money from it. There's a particular formula and there's a particular mainstream formula. But then it's like, oh man, we've seen this before. You can even look at like typical boy bands, right? There's a freaking formula for boy bands or girl bands. Yeah. But when it's underground, it's raw, fam.
It's different.
You know what I mean? It's hard. It's heavy, fam. It's like, oof.
And I think there's this. I think there's also this phobia of like making it. Yeah. You know, when people make it, they start like sort of like going, I made it now, so I need to be a bit more careful with what I produce and so on. And
they become restricted.
They become restricted.
So it's like that freedom that you remember what I said earlier is like the reason why I love art is the freedom it gives you. Right, the freedom to create, the power to create. That's the ultimate like freedom you can ever have in the world.
But can I argue that those
you can't argue, bro? No, I'm just playing. Of course you can, man.
Thank you for permission.
No, I'm just saying. Do you know what? Do you know why I said this? By the way, it's my own problem. I have my own issue. Sometimes I would debate or I would argue. I don't need to say that. I am gonna argue and I am gonna debate. So it's cool.
No, but I like I don't say it for the. I say it because I like to lay off. You know, when you take it, when you take a shot, you have to roll the ball a little bit, and then once up to the ball.
So like you're setting man up.
Because I don't like to take a free kicks. I like to roll the ball as I take the kick, innit? But can I argue that when you say those who are scared of what they do and say once they've reached a certain peak of fame, they are essentially considered maybe good people because they understand the power of their influence and they see it as a responsibility, whereas those who don't give a shit, aka me and Leo, are dickheads because
I speak for yourself, man.
No, you don't give a shit because we can say whatever the fuck you want, and we don't care for how people take it. We just speak and whatever. So in a way, someone can argue because obviously I disagree with this point I'm trying to make, but regardless of that fact, one can argue that those who are self-conscious of what they say, they just care about people. And those who don't, they just don't care about people. It's like what Fizz was talking about, how influence is like, you don't know your audience. Therefore, your audience can be mixed up of those who are self-aware and those who aren't. And if we constantly think about those who are self-aware, that's limiting. Whereas those who aren't, How do they react? How do they consume your content?
I think sometimes like you can say the most perfect things in life, and I think people will still interpret it in a certain way.
100%.
Yeah.
I think there's no. I think this thing comes up for me a lot, and I think most likely, like you can relate to this. I don't know, like you tell me, but it's the whole thing of like not caring about what people think.
Yeah.
And I know people throw it into the space a lot. They say you shouldn't care about what people think, and saying it is one thing, and then doing it's a whole different thing.
Facts.
So for me, it's been a journey to get to that point. But as you know, as years go by, like I'm caring less and less. I'm to the point where like I'm not really.
It's similar to the whole thing of my dad. So I walked out with my camera, the whole rig that you see right here.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, "Oh, but what are you doing, man? People are activities, whatever." And he said he made a point that made me think really. Like he said, people are getting stabbed for £1. So I'm gonna be thinking they're getting stabbed for either £1 or £1 million. Either way, you're gonna get touched, or you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying?
Stabbed, so you're gonna get touched.
So either way, you're gonna get touched. Yeah. So what can I actually do? Like if I'm walking out of £1, because he's saying people are getting like stabbed for £1, I can walk out of £1 in my pocket, or I can walk out of a 2,000 pound camera. Either way, I'm gonna get bagged. So what can we do? Same way you're saying how no matter what you do or what you say is gonna get taken into a way. What can we actually do? Is it right to not give a shit?
I think it's that thing of like living in fear, and
that's powerful,
and that is powerful, and it's about taking a risk. It's like, would you rather be scared your whole life or just take a risk and you know it might happen? Speaking of a risk, like where do you think the balance is when it comes to taking a risk in life in general, in anything?
So I'm very libertarian, right? And I believe that you should absolutely do everything that you want to do and want to do, provided that it's not harming other people. Right. So if you're taking,
how do we know? How do we know what's harming other people though?
You see what I mean? So that's then like it's a whole nother debate. It's a whole nother question of like, okay, what's harmful, what's not harmful, right? And that usually will be determined by maybe like social norms, depending on the kind of society.
And also we get to decide too. And
we get to decide. We contribute to those social norms, right? That's a fact.
It's about how much risk should we be taking. Or like where's the line to how much risk people should be taking, or like you know, like, because it's that whole thing of like people say, you know, the bigger risk, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Where just that's another. Do you know what it is? I'm just fed up with all these bullshit quotes online. But
they're like
man.
Bullshit quotes are not in context. Bro. I feel like you have to put those quotes or just like ideas into context. Right? So when you put them into context, then it can be like, okay, are we talking about like the risk maybe of you're at work and a promotion is potentially there, or a new job is potentially there, and they're like, we need you guys to apply, and the risk could be you apply and you can get rejected, and that bruises your ego. Right? That's the risk. Do you know what I mean? But then it's like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, it is a risk, yes, but it was actually like a low level risk, right? So it's all relative, and like we said earlier, it depends on what context you put that in.
Do you know what I love about what you said there? Yeah, I think context and also definition of something, and then also redefinition of something is very important, because what happens in life, it's like people don't give context to something. And sometimes we define something, but the way we defined it might not be working for us.
But what if? But the thing is,
then redefining it is so powerful, because we get to redefine it any point we want to.
That's if we choose
say what the rules
these quotes are,
you determine what they are.
These quotes are specifically, the way I see, these quotes are specifically designed to be vague so that you can interpret it however you like. Because most of these quotes are basically metaphors, right?
I think there's a bullshit community out there, that just full of shit. You know what it is? I think there's a bunch of people out there who just fucking consume quotes for the sake of consuming them. You know what? And it's like, do you know what it is? Because I realized there's two different types of people. There's like a majority of public who reshare these like, oh my God, Paulo Coelho quote, so it's all of that stuff. And then there's some people who like really like certain hidden gems who are really powerful, and those are the people who really understand certain things. But there's like the mainstream of like, I'm gonna post this and whatever.
I think you're right. You're like, there's a particular branch in like the motivation and mindset community that just churn out these quotes and regurgitate these quotes, but don't even like know what they even really mean.
I mean, they know what it means for them, but it's just
practical aspect of it. But more of a like, I read this quote, I felt good in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just doing it for the feel good part, but not the actual practical application of like, okay, how is this then going to apply to your life in the right context?
That's the beauty of it.
What action are you going to take to that?
That's the beauty, because like we always say, we get to choose, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't care about their intention for posting a quote. If it's a quote that I'm now reading and now I get to choose how I see this quote, it can mean something to me and not something completely something else.
I mean that's a good point, because like it's true. Like I think I'm coming from like a judgmental place of like thinking that they might be interpreting certain things in a certain way. So I could be wrong. That's just my experience, you know what I'm saying?
We get to choose whose intentions we generally care about. If your intention does not directly affect me, I get to drown it out, right? I've chosen to drown it out. Therefore, I've now said, your intention, I don't give a shit whether it's good or bad, put over there, I'm not seeing it. Now let me take what you've done and see how I can benefit from it. If I can't benefit from it, I'm out. Keep it stepping, next quote or next whatever. Right. But if I can benefit from it.
That goes back to what Leo was saying, right? In terms of like the people we value. Who do we value? If we don't value them, it means nothing. They mean nothing.
Yeah. But then now we're saying now it creates a risk of, because so I had a conversation with someone the other week here about therapy, and how she said that she didn't recommend it necessarily, but she said that maybe I should maybe try therapy because it really worked for her.
Yeah.
And my problem with that was therapists. Okay, therapists are humans.
They're pissed,
They're pissed, yeah. They're mad.
They must be pissed, bro.
Therapists are humans. And what's the problem with humans? Humans are constantly changing. If I read a book, I'll read one page of that book. If I read the same book tomorrow, the words don't change. I change, but the words don't change.
So what if...
I'll let me learn.
Nah, go on.
Bro.
My bad, sorry, I apologize.
So but the point I was trying to make was therapists are humans.
Yeah.
And what's the problem with humans? Humans constantly change. Now you're by seeing a therapist, and I understand they're trained and they did. But how much can you train?
Right? That is trying not to change.
Yeah, but so what I'm trying to say is like humans have bad days. Humans have a change of mindset. Humans have a constant. They have things happen to them.
Yeah.
And they have their own methods or abilities to respond. So now I'm putting my entire trust into you as a human, hoping that you as a human can help me out and support me. That's risky. The music's done. That's risky as hell. I can't like that. To me, you're human. The same way government is bullshit because government.
So look, my response to this is that I'm going to go back to perspective, because there's something interesting that you said. That the first thing you started with, which was a sense of perspective, you was like, what is wrong with humans?
Yeah.
That's the first phrase that you said, Where my perspective is like, what is right with humans and what is amazing about humans? Okay. Like a therapist is amazing. It's an incredible person who's going to be spending time
with you, right?
To help you reflect. Like that's amazing. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm looking at problems. It's like, what is amazing about that as well? You know what I'm saying? But listen, if you was to start a club, what kind of club would you start?
I would start an underground members club.
Jeez.
When I say underground, I mean like, because you know how you usually get like private members clubs, which are in a sense exclusive, elite,
but they're still accessible.
Accessible in the sense that can you afford to access it? Right? Can you afford to be in that space as a function or as a factor of whether you actually have money, right? So for me, what I would start is something like underground, something that looks subcultures. You know what we were saying about like before things become mainstream, right? An underground members club would actually define what is like the new trend, what's going to be popping, and then it will like build on that, and that could eventually become mainstream.
Oh, that sounds lit.
But it'll be just be like mad in the sense like we're constantly evolving with like new ideas, new ways of thinking, especially within like the art and creative space. You know, because you've got like Soho houses. They're mainstream private members, because then you've got other like the Ned, which are like very elite, like only to certain members of like professions and I've got money. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, yeah, it's cool you've got these clubs and spaces, but you're excluding a lot of talent from entering those spaces, right?
Because the most valuable thing that someone can actually contribute is the time, and it's always that money is always a compensation of time.
Yeah, facts.
But that's the thing. So this is what I realize is the fact that someone is sometimes we're living in an interesting world, right? So sometimes because someone is getting paid more, it doesn't always mean, it can mean that, but it doesn't always mean they're contributing more value than a person who's getting paid less. And sometimes it's the same thing. It's like someone that's getting paid less, it also doesn't mean that they're contributing more, you know, or less anyways. But I think contribution and pay, it's kind of like interconnected, isn't it? But I think if it was separated a little bit, I think it will give a bit more of a understanding of where people are at and what the value should be as well.
What would you if you could take over the whole financial space, what would you exchange money for? So like if you like, because obviously
resources,
because money, that's good. Because but
we do that though.
No, but that's the thing.
No, because what I'm trying to say is, so money and essentially is tokens of gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Like you've done this for me, and I'm giving you 2 tokens of gratitude to say thank you. Now, if you was to take out the whole thing of money, paper, coin, metal, gold, silver, all that, what could we replace that? What kind of actions could we replace
cryptocurrencies?
Crypto. I'm telling you, bro. But crypto is a form of money as a currency.
It's a currency.
So it's almost like now that we've introduced the financial system or money as a system, it's now like impossible to get rid of it.
100%.
But if we could get rid of it, maybe the best bet is going back to the system that was there before, which was just bartering, right? So for example, I'll be like, yo, Aladdin, I like those chips. Let me trade you those chips with this bottle of water. Right. So
and the thing is, that way you can't have too much of something, innit?
But how do you measure each individual value? Is the measure based on what you have already, or
so it's a measure of what you have and what the person doesn't have and may potentially need, right? So it's in that sense, it's built on like necessity and need. Whereas when you introduce things like money, people can then accumulate a lot of money, and then it leads to excess and luxury. Right.
So if there's a constant metric of value of something, then that's where the problems lie. If the metric of something's value is based on the individual, that's where equity and equality becomes more available.
So do you know what? No, I love about what Milambo was saying, because actually, if I could change one thing in the world, that's what I would do. I would make the world a resource-based economy. So there's no money, and I agree with what you're saying, because there's the system. I think the biggest flaw in having currency or money in general, and especially that before, money used to be physical as well, so you can have paper, so you can't hold too much. That's why the banks came out and whatever. But I think the biggest issue with money is that you can have numbers in a bank account, but you can't have 100,000 cars in your bank account. Because someone can have amount of money to buy 100,000 cars, but physically it would be impossible for them to keep those 100,000 cars. So if you had resource-based economy and there was no money at all, like people would only have what they need.
True, I get what you're saying, but the problem with, and we have to be balanced, right, is of a resource-based economy is that sometimes resources may not even be in season or may not be ready, right? So if we even just look at food can go bad. Right, so if you're like hoarding if you're growing and then holding onto food, so you're like, oh, I want to be able to sell this and trade this to people because I want like cameras, mics, and phones and whatever resources or goods that those people may have. By the time those goods are ready for them to trade, the vegetables that you have could have gone bad, and you ain't got nothing to trade.
What's that country that there's? I think there's a country.
That's a good point.
It's mad, fam.
I think even there's a country that's about active today, or it was a method that people used to do back in the day, where they only eat what's in season. Their food is based on the seasons, not based on what they want, or not based on what they crave. It's just based on what's active at the moment. I think that's a healthy way of living.
But you know what? Like we survived before money came.
When there's droughts and there's no.
Yeah, we eat corn.
It's peak, fam.
We eat sweet corn for our entire lives.
It's peak.
That's the hand we're dealt, innit? Because eventually, if there is a drought, eventually we're gonna run out of something, right?
Yeah, so, it's true. It's true.
Just eat what Mother Nature tells us to eat. We'll be hoarding apples from the summer.
I vibe with that in the sense that it's very environmental. You know, and we just
because mass production is a problem.
What we just need.
There we go.
Apart from excess.
So mass production is like the origin of our economic crisis. The fact that we're hoarding like the economy is a hoarder. The economy. I don't know if I said that right, but our economy is a bag of hoarders that are just. You know what I'm saying?
Bare bag of hoarders, fam.
I mean, there's that stupid thing of like apparently the world is in debt to
itself.
It's like, but that's what I'm saying. And do you know what? So I was thinking about money. Speaking of money, yeah, this is so this is like really.
By the way, there's 5 quadrillion pounds circulating the earth right now. That's what I just learned that recently. I really want to bring that out. 5 quadrillion. That's 15 zeros.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So how many? 5 quadrillions.
Yeah, 5. I think it's a 5 quadrillion.
I don't know how much that is, but
it's 50
all I know also that information, like not to. I'm not saying this towards you, by the way, just to be clear. Like the information is not very. It's not gonna do anything for me.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was saying. So
I like it though. It's interesting. I like this kind of small things.
What we can do with this information?
But the one thing I was gonna say. It's about money. What was I gonna say about money? Oh yeah, the whole inflation thing, you know. Yeah. So basically, inflation's inevitable, innit? Inevitable.
Avoidable.
So yeah, I just my Lithuanian side comes out of me sometimes. But so see with inflation, yeah, is because and this is what I was thinking about. Like, obviously back in the day, let's say like £100 was like what, like £50,000 or whatever, you know, like back in way back, yeah. But the thing is, it's like eventually as time goes on, money is always gonna like there's gonna be, you know, it's gonna go up all the time. Otherwise, there's no other way around. If they're printing money, they're adding more currency, like it's gonna have to go up. The inflation is gonna come with it. And I was thinking, like, what's really cool about cryptocurrencies is that the more money comes out and the more money goes into cryptocurrencies, that tackles the inflation because the crypto price goes up. So if the crypto price goes up, that means it's equivalent to that inflation that's going up as well. You know what I'm saying? That's really interesting.
Are you not scared that the government can take over crypto the same way they're taking over like banks and money?
I mean, they're trying, but it's not really working.
I mean, who has more power?
I think it's the way around. I think they want to regulate. So this is the thing. So this is what I learned recently about crypto, and I want to ask you what you think about crypto as well. One thing I've learned recently is actually government isn't against crypto. The only thing government wants to do with cryptocurrency is regulate it and make sure that it's sustainable in the future. They're not against it.
Those
but they're only against it if it disadvantages them. If it benefits them, of course they're going to go for it. And if they found a way, because they will, because this is the government, they're like the superpowers of the world. They're going to find a way to benefit from it.
Yeah, I feel like anytime people have any type of freedom, the government wants to put their hands on that. But yeah, what's your thoughts on crypto?
So
anyways?
I've vibe with crypto heavy, right? But I also agree with like your concerns. Like when you look at crypto is essentially trying to decentralize certain systems and bring that power back to people, right? But that's all fair and good. But what then happens is that you also have to keep mind and be aware of not everyone is going to try and use crypto for good. So you get those cowboys that will then try and take advantage of people and rip them off. So I think where you then have maybe government intervention is maybe because they're like, actually, you know what, we don't fully understand it just yet, that's why we need to regulate it, or we're going to add regulations in certain bits and bobs to make sure that it's an even playing field for everyone, so no one's getting ripped off and that. But obviously different countries are doing it differently, right? So maybe what you're seeing is some countries, like, they're like, nah, we just don't understand this. We don't have the systems in place to deal with this, so we're just gonna ban it. Right? Whereas other countries are like, actually, you know what? Like, I think we can make something work here. So you know, they're letting it ride, but you know, they're adding bits and bobs and rules and how to, you know, make things work in a certain way.
So there's this interesting organization that's helping. So they're pro crypto. But they're working with the government. So what they're doing, they sort of. By the way, if you're not interested, just Google it. I forgot the name.
Man. That's dope.
Aladdin can check it up anyways. But there's this organization, so they're working with government, and obviously they so which is really weird. It kind of contradicts it. They're working with the government, but they're pro crypto. But what they're doing is like they want to help the government to basically capture those criminals that are using cryptocurrency to kind of do certain things. And actually, recently, I think they confiscated like 200 million of Bitcoin or something or whatever. But basically they were like tracking people that were doing transactions through black market and stuff. And I'm like, it's really interesting because there's so much development in that space. And it's like, it's not even reached its potential yet. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what's smart as well, right? Is that when you just look at the government, let's say, it's actually in general, like its main function is obviously is like a public good or to make sure that public services are like in order and running, right? So stuff like healthcare, roads, etc. So, and how the government does this is through raising money, and it mainly raises money through tax, right? So when you and I go to the shops to buy goods or services, there's value added tax on that. That's how the government raises money. When we get paid through work, national contributions, right? That's how government makes money. A bit of tax on your pay, right? But crypto bypasses all of that, right? So you get in transactions that are happening where the government can't then tax it. That's a problem for the government. That is,
that's their problem.
For you and I, that could be a good thing because they're like, bro, I could get my bag full without the taxman getting his hands on that. Right?
Wait, so I can actually ask people to start paying me in cryptos. Huh? If I ask people to start paying me in cryptos, that's tax free, right?
I mean, not everyone's gonna pay in crypto.
But I can't
now.
I can't comment on that, but you know.
Not everyone's gonna pay in crypto, but also I think most organizations won't pay in crypto purely because they're gonna have to sort their tax out, not you. So there's a whole bunch of different things. That's why I just want to regulate the thing.
People have to like figure it out. It's like maybe like self-assessments and stuff like that. When I don't know what kind of business you're running, but you have to fill out your tax, right? And how much money you made and how much money you should be paying.
Yes, lad, and you have to fill that shit in, Don't forget that, You know what I'm saying? I'm saying this on camera, Good thing that people don't see what you look like. It could be anyone, like no face, no case. No face, no case.
As if my Insta's on in the description right now, bro.
Or just add his Instagram's in the description.
I've shot myself in the foot.
Hey, that's funny. That's funny.
That's what it is, man.
But also just the whole NFT space, I think is kind of like, it's a bit messed up right now. There's a lot of bullshit NFT projects coming out, but that's where the art stuff is. That's gonna be. Did you go to a digital art gallery thing?
I actually went with Babs. Right? Babs that took me there, and it was crazy interesting. Where you have this idea of where art is now moving into the digital space.
So is it all NFT stuff, like, or is it just
NFTs? And they were talking about, you know, stuff that they're creating and how artists can get maybe full control over the kind of money they get paid as a result of those NFTs now, you know, selling well. Because a lot of the times, you know, artists aren't like paid a fair value or fair share of what their work is worth, especially when it gets resold and sold and sold again.
Because they're going through like a central system where they can't create their own smart contracts with people and stuff. Yes.
Because you find that, let's say like you as an artist, right? You create something, maybe you sell it for 10K, and then over time the value of that goes up. But the person that bought it, right, when they resell it, maybe they might resell it for like 100K. So you as the original artist, you'd have missed out on that upshoot of value, right? But if it was an NFT and the value goes out, right, you get a little something every time.
And they can decide how they want. For instance, they can create a project where they go like, cool, I'm putting this one copy out. And every single resale, they get 10% of the commission. So there's so many different things. They can decide the smart contract they want to have. And also, it's like people can't copy that piece of art because by the code, everyone knows what the original is.
Exactly. You know, it gets rid of like replicas and fakes, diluting the market and bringing down the value of art.
Because people have this assumption that on internet it's gonna be easier to make fakes. Actually, it's the other way around. It's like it's easier to make fakes in real life than on internet when it comes to blockchain stuff. Because you know what I'm saying. That's really fascinating.
That's fucking fascinating, fam.
Yeah, and that's the other thing as well. So even the NFT stuff. I think music industry, I keep saying this, music industry is probably the one that gets finessed a lot. And I see labels as banks. I don't see them as labels. I don't think label is a label. I think label is just a bank that gives out loans to artists. And gets them to do certain things, and then they basically like invest in them. And then they take a lot
money back.
A lot of royalties, and that's how they survive, innit? And it's a centralized system, innit? Where an artist and musician can go, I'm gonna create an NFT project. I'm gonna decide what my contract is. I'm gonna decide how much royalties I'm getting. People can buy it. They can also get 10% of the royalties. They invested in it now as well. Everyone's benefiting, and there's no central system for it.
And that's gonna be powerful, you know, because you then give artists a lot more freedom, and we're gonna see artists from maybe places and spaces that we've never even seen or had access to artists before. So people will now be like, you know what, this is actually like a solid career now. It's it's viable. And
Does
I
that-
see a lot of talent out there.
So what I think that does is that removes the filter, which means the question that comes into play is, can there be too many creators, or too many artists, or too many content creators, photographers
in the kitchen? Now,
Can there be too much?
I feel like, you know what, to an extent that is true.
Because what labels do is they take in everyone, or a lot of people, a lot of artists, and they get rid of the shit ones, keep the good ones.
Yeah.
Which is why the music scene is so like is wide, but there's a lot of good. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if I create my own music and I decide to distribute my own music, does that now make way for shit artists, subjectively of course, to become popular?
But I don't think it will, because the market will then decide who's popular and who's not, right? Despite being signed to a label, you can still flop. Right? There's a lot of people that are signed to labels that are not even popping because actually people are just not feeding their music, right? So I feel like the market, i.e. people like you and I, will decide when we hear a certain sound or a certain artist, whether we vibe with that or not. But it is true that there can be this thing where you get too many chefs in the kitchen, or too many creatives or content creators in the kitchen, where we're now getting bombarded with information and content. Why? Because we have access to the internet, and it's just like constantly hitting us, and we can't decide or make a choice. It's like when you go into the shops or supermarkets and you want to buy something, but there's just so many types of chicken there that you don't know which one to get.
Because value is determined in quantity, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time, it's determined in how many of that thing there is. So for me, because there's so many meme accounts and meme pages and all that stuff, I just go rid of all of them because they're all bullshit to me.
Yeah.
But if there was like very few of them,
Yeah.
I think I'd be more invested in that.
Yeah.
Which is why I asked the question: can there be such thing as too many? Because now, can there be like too much chocolate will make me sick, but not a little bit of chocolate will make me nice. Like I'll be happy. So, can it potentially reach a point where there's so many artists and no one's new, like no one's doing anything that's as unusual or outlandish or like different? I'm just like off music now, and if that happens to me, how many other people can that happen to? And would that be the beginning of the crisis or the crash of music?
So I think what's more interesting about that, I think that's already happening, and I think what determines the outcome is the artist's mindset of how they think and how they're gonna prevail. Like if they're gonna keep pushing, you know what I'm trying to say. I think it's more about mindset rather than is there too much of this or is there too much of that. It's like, what kind of mindset am I going into the space with? But you know what would be really cool, what would be really cool, is if there would be like a list of how many people are in different careers. Like imagine that, It's like because I was it's like a career distribution thing. So it's like people can see like, cool, this is like the least taken career. Right now, this is like the most like
that would be lit.
Have you
so
seen
lit.
that thing where like there's this thing that I saw where when you die, and obviously it's fictional, but you basically see your stats. So how many times you blinked?
It's like GTA, fam.
how many times you blinked? How many hours you slept? How many steps you've taken?
But your sleep would be low, innit?
Huh?
Your sleep hours would be low.
I'll get decent numbers.
Great.
Imagine just think about it. Like you
My
die.
party hours would be higher.
No, think
Brazy. It's only recently man's been accumulating.
Motive would be like 100%.
It's only recent.
can't really give all this one, man.
Oh my
You know what's mad? Yeah, I've never used to go out that much, you know, but I love it. Like recently, I've just been enjoying it, man. Yeah, it's just been vibes.
Imagine that though. Imagine you just like conk out. You don't obviously you skip the bucket. How I say, and you just
Take
see
the bucket.
skip it, and then you just see numbers. You just see all your stats throughout your entire life. But that, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't think I want to see that.
That'd be so lit.
That's why I do Microsoft Excel sheets and that. I don't want to see the numbers, fam.
No, but every now and again I go on GTA, for example, and I go on my stats and see how many people have killed.
But
GTA
do you know what would be crazy, right? The one number that you see that will be consistent across everyone else or across everyone when they kick the bucket would probably be, or at least the one stat that would be the highest, right, would probably be work. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like consistency across the board, because we spend too much time working, fam.
Yeah,
or at least spend a lot of our
But there's different types of work.
human life.
There's a variety. Of
It could be, you know what I mean. But I'm saying work in the broadest category possible, right?
because it can be. You're talking about it can be good work, bad work. It's just you're talking about work in general. It can be things work, passionate work, and any kind of work.
I have a question, and you take your time when you answer this question because I really want to get a good answer. Assuming this stat thing actually works hypothetically, if you could choose one stat to look at, which one would you choose?
That's a good question.
You can only choose one stat.
One stat to look at, probably.
I haven't even got my answer. I need to think of mine.
Family and friends.
How many family friends you
Family
make?
and friends. I feel like you want to look at that and be like, you know, did I spend enough time with family and friends? Because sometimes you can have a lot of distractions in life, or work can get in the way of things, you know, of you spending time with family and friends. And you can prioritize other things, but at the end of the day, I think family and friends are very core. And that should be at least one of the highest stats on this hypothetical stats board.
Yeah. That's actually a good answer, you know. No, I'm gonna think of mine because I don't want to say whatever comes to mind. I want a good answer in it. Like,
What are you thinking on that, Leo?
Yeah, what's your one?
I don't think I want to see any of them. You know, I don't think I want to see a stat.
The truth would hurt, innit? The truth would hurt.
Do you know what it is? I think the way I'm living my life now, I think it's enough for me to know where I'm at, to the point where like I don't think I need to see it. Like
I think the question is based more.
But you know what? Yeah, I just deemed it as well. It's like, because you've kicked the bucket. Yeah, what good does it then?
Yeah, like
that's the question.
Wait.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but the question
way before.
The question is less so about making a change, but more so about curiosity. That's all it is.
Okay,
it's just like out of curiosity.
Yeah.
If you could choose one, which one would you choose?
Just want to see. Yeah, jeez, going to heaven depressed though, fam. If it turns out that one of your stats, that
But you're already dead anyway, so you're not gonna have the opportunity to feel depressed about any of the numbers anyway. So just with your mindset today, what would you just look at?
Do you know what? For me,
curiosity.
I think what I'd like to see is that, like, did I do enough to help people believe in their dreams, and did I do enough to help people feel better about who they are and discover themselves a bit more? I think that's what it would be for me.
That's dope.
Yeah,
I give man a DM.
Like you gonna look at the impact that you made. What was your impact? That's dope, bro.
I got one. How I want to know. How much germs people have given me that I was not aware of, like a little handshake or a hug or even like talking someone. How much germs was exchanged?
but like not all germs are bad though.
Yeah, no.
Are you talking about all germs or just?
Yeah, but cool. Let's say a bad one. I'm just curious because that's something I'll never know. Even if I look into it, I'll never know it.
Oh, bro, you know what? Yeah, actually,
Chichi
I've
Johnson.
got a different one. Yeah. Do you know what I want to know? Yeah, how many times did I skip dying? Yeah, like,
Because you don't know what's behind you.
Yeah, how many times did I bust case? How many times did I bust case when it came to death? And just like seeing the moments, like, cool, that could have been that moment.
Yeah,
I would have loved to see that.
Because for example, like you turn left, and you missed like someone crashing into
Or
you.
you might be 5 minutes late somewhere.
Do you know what I mean? Because you were that is dope.
That would be sick. Some Final Destination shit.
I lucky I haven't fucked up one still. Assuming after I've seen it, I can't have any emotion towards it, yeah? And this is basically pure curiosity.
But you sure you want to say this, yeah? Because it sounds like you're about to land some mad stuff,
Out of genuine curiosity, I want to see my own birth. It's a mad thing.
No, that's nothing wrong with that.
I just want to see my own birth.
That's calm.
Imagine you can see your own birth. Like, imagine someone videotape.
I say you want to see if it came out from the front and from like.
Funny.
No, I'm just saying, like, head first or like sometimes the leg first, head. You know what I'm saying? It could have been either way. Maybe it came out sideways.
Like,
oh my god!
Maybe,
I didn't know you went that way.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
In like seeing,
I don't know what you was thinking about.
How maybe like the people that were there reacted.
Would you tape your child's birth and show this to them when I'm doing it at 25 years old?
It was a beautiful moment.
There's nothing beautiful about that moment, bro. It's only after that's beautiful. In that moment, it's like a whole fuckery, bro.
Yeah, no, there's nothing beautiful.
It's bare, yeah.
That'd be mad too.
It is beautiful, but it's, you know.
But imagine watching. Just think about it. Imagine watching your own birth. Like, we live in a digital age where we can actually do that. People are filming births left, right, and center. Like, you had that channel on Channel 4, that episode of One Born Every Minute. Imagine watching your own birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, man.
That'll be interesting.
So yeah, we're gonna start wrapping up.
Yeah,
I don't know why I
let's
say
wrap
this
it
all the
up.
time. We're gonna start wrapping up. We're gonna start wrapping up. But we are gonna wrap up.
Yeah,
do you know what it is? I need to find a new way of saying.
You're just doing it. Remember what I said earlier? You're doing the layup before you take the free kick.
I know, but that's the thing.
Rolling
I want to
ball.
find a new way of saying it because I don't like it. Personally, I don't like it. I don't know how listeners take it, but I don't like it.
Start wrapping down.
So we don't have to, but if you want to, is there anything you want to promote to the community? If you've got, if not, that's
169.
Nothing right now, just because
Cool.
like.
I want to promote that club.
Actually,
I want to promote that club that's gonna happen later down the line.
No need, fam. No need.
Yeah.
In fact, I will promote something though. One thing I definitely want to promote, man. Shout out to BTS, man. Podcast is crazy, too hard,
My brother.
and I love to see it grow, man. So, and it's big,
My
boy.
brother.
Do you know what I mean? And you man are just putting the work in. YouTube, Instagram, like those are dope platforms.
Yeah.
So,
And do you know what I was gonna say? Obviously, you already know we wanted to get you on for a while, innit?
fam,
So
it's been mad.
so
fam.
it's
been
not-
mad.
it's nothing
been
but
mad.
gratitude
I
and-
feel like I'm still gonna have to come back. At some
No, you're
point.
coming back,
Because
100%.
We gonna cook something up crazy.
100%, you're coming back. That's a fact.
Crazy.
And
fam.
and this was gonna say, like, for me,
it's just a warm up.
it's
It's just a layup. It's just
There
a
you
layup
go.
for the free kick.
you already obviously you know me off camera, you know me off this, so like, you know, I'm grateful for you anyways in general, and obviously I want to say thanks for coming, you know,
appreciate
to your
you, man.
podcast. So when we watch, we look back on all of this like years later, you know, it's just, this is gold, innit? So
Say this, fam.
come on. And the final question we always check out with as well is, when you're gonna have the chance to tell something to the whole world.
7.8.
You say 7.8, I say the whole world. What would you tell them?
Same.
Same.
Fam, I feel like I don't understand that question. You know, like
So
let me
let me lay out this scenario. Yeah. So boom, the world's just changed. Yeah. And then they go, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna put Milambo on the TV for the whole world to see. Yeah. And Milambo's gonna give this powerful message. Yeah, to the whole world. Yeah. What do you want to tell them?
Okay, fam. Powerful message to the world.
You don't need to be powerful. They always said, "Watch your chicken."
Actually, you know what? He's right. It doesn't have to be powerful. I said powerful, but
Yeah, just a message to the world. Yeah.
yeah, what's the
If
message
you
to
just
the
say
world?
something to the world, like if you just and everyone, you have what's 7 times 2, 14 point whatever billion it is. What do you say?
I'm having a mind blank, fam.
You can't even be like, wash your chicken, bro, because I'm with that Bill. That's what Bill said, didn't it?
Wash your lamb.
It said, wash your chicken.
I miss him, man. I want to get him back.
Alright,
on.
allow me. So
Take time.
let me take some time on this. Yeah.
Leo, let's talk also. Wait, what you saying?
Nothing. I need to go piss.
Let me
You're rushing it, bro.
You know what?
Let me say right now.
I don't.
Like,
No, bro, stay.
I'm gonna say right now. I'm gonna say.
He's gonna say it, bro.
One thing, yeah. Alright, go on.
Let's put on hold. You enjoy yourself, yeah? You enjoy yourself. Yeah. Come on.
I got a
go as well.
message, fam. I got a message, fam. Whoa! Alright, that message is, yeah. I'll let you say it.
The message is, woo!
Love, bro. So a message I tell the world is keep it moving.
Cheers.
We move, fam. We move.
Anything bad that happens, we move. Anything good that happens, we still move. We just keep it moving.
Regardless, we keep
Yeah.
it moving, bro.
Keep it moving,
Always
keep growing.
moving forward.
I love it. I love that, man.
Alright, double blessings.